Good afternoon, CETEMIN students. My name is Carmelita Polo. I am a student of the Metallurgical and Chemical Process career, and today interview we have Engineer Harley Pereyra, Metallurgical Engineer and CETEMIN instructor. Good afternoon, Engineer.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
Engineer, what can you tell us about your work experience?
Now, I'm going to tell you a little about myself. I graduated from the National University of Engineering. I studied metallurgical engineer, as you mentioned it. I went to work in the city of Arequipa to the Ocopampa unit, Buenaventura company. I was there for a little more than a year, first a trainer and then as headward. After that, I dedicated myself to doing laboratory tests for companies such as Autotech, which is a company that sells equipment, design, and performance tests. I have been there for a long time doing pilot tests, and we have been doing pilot plants. That because we did it here in Lima or we went to different units. Mainly, that is my experience in piloting. I was also in Nexa, what used to be Milpo, and now is Nexa, specifically Cerro Pasco, El Porvenir. That is in the operational field, but I also work as an instructor. So in that field, I have been mainly starting in plant personal training, mainly in what is the career because teaching. I have also taught at the University of Cesar Vallejo for about 1 year, but training on the subject of processing. I have been training plant personnel. Among my training, I have been in the San Rafael mine. I have been last more that a year ago with the guys who was started Marcobre, who's the mine, them that directly plant personnel. And as you already know me, this area as instructor in CETEMIN, now is as coordinator.
Thank you, Engineer. What motivated you to study metallurgical engineering?
I tell you a little bit about it. Almost by chance, I got to metallurgy because when I was preparing for university, I was a little indecisive at first. When I started applying to uni, I first wanted civil. I remember in the process of preparation, I was then for mechanics, then electrical mechanics. When I applied, I entered metallurgy. Then I said suddenly I did not enter and I reply or start studying and then I change. And studying, I knew a little career. I had friends, we were together and we went to do my practice. I liked this process much more. Before, I didn't like chemistry very much, even at university, even to prepare myself to enter the university, which wasn't easy at all. Then I got to know more about chemistry, so I dedicated myself more to metallurgical because of the chemistry itself. And I got to know the chemistry and the process, so I stayed there in metallurgy. As I was telling you already at university, I got to know more about process and I did my internship and that's when I fell in love with a career. So that's who I stayed in the processing part. Then when I was in the university, it was already teaching. It was teaching kids to apply to the university. So that where I got to know what teaching is.
Okay, Engineer. What can you tell us about the metallurgical and chemical process career?
No, about the career as such, is a career the objective is to generate capacities and have to do with the previous questions. Capacity so that you can be very good technicians, starting with suddenly an assistant in the certain fields of operation, crossing assistant, riding assistant, to then become operators and end up being supervisor. Much will depend on the company. Each company has its own organization structure, but that will be the line of work. So the degree course as metallurgical and chemical processing aims for students to be able to work in any of these areas, either in the operational part, which is the concentration part, or the chemical part. So you could end up as analyst. So that is the career, which will give you theoretical knowledge when you are ready in the classroom part, practical knowledge, so that you can work as a technician.
Excellent. Engineer, what is the field of work of the future technician, chemical, metallurgical, and processes?
The employment field is diverse, and you also have the possibility of working in a concentric plant in any of these areas. You know that in plant you are going to be comminution, cruising, riding, depending of the type of mineral are you going to have. If they are oxides, leaching, if they are sulfides, you are going to have flotation. You are going to be in checking in any of those areas you are going to want to operate. Then you can work in any of them. If the plant has smelting plant, you are going to be there. You could be in laboratory or of a sudden, be it a metallurgical laboratory or a chemical laboratory, be it in plant or in the mine, be in the city. There are guys who can work in the non-metallics area in cement production, for example. They can also work there. So in reality, the future is yours. You are going to build the part for yourself. Then there are even cases that with knowledge they have a career dedicated to sales, sales of concentrate, sales of equipment. So they need personnel with that knowledge.
Of course, we have a great feature to prefer in different parts of a concentrator plane.
Yes, Carmelita, it is important to point out that is not easy. I'm not saying that it's not going to be easy. You are going to choose. I am not saying that it is not going to be easy either. Each one will have a different future, but if it is your turn to fight, you will have the tools to be able to continue. Then you will have to compete, or who knows, there are many recommendations. So you will have the tools to comply with what is asked for you. Those are the fields. Technically, those are the function that you will be able to carry out.
What advice can you give to students who have chosen a career in metallurgical and chemical process?
The best things is for them to carry on as before. There will be problems, adversities, distraction, inconvenience, lack of time, economic problems. All of that happens. And if it doesn't happen, some people end up getting bored. So I tell them to never stop studying, never stop learning. Finish the career and keep learning, keep studying. When you arrive at a plan, you will have to study your plan in type of everything you have studied, everything you have learned in the career. My most sincere recommendation is that you never stop learning and that you always keep on studying. And if you can, once you get a job, complement your technical studies with some university studies. Do not set a limit for yourself. Do not set a limit like this. Set your goals. You reach the first one, worry and worry about the second one. You reach the second one, worry about the third one. So it's my advice that you can give you now.
Thank you for your excellent advice. I believe that each one of us will fight for what we are studying, as they say, and with the help of engineers like you, we will go very far.
It will be so.
Well, finish the interview, Engineer Harley. Engineer, in your opinion, how do you think learning another language influences the life of a professional?
Now ready, Dina. Knowing another language is advantage well more than an advantage today is a necessity because in information there is more information, specifically in English than in Spanish. Many books, especially old books, are translate books. Very few are there books that have Spanish and the original language. Then is the translation error will occur. Then I to read the translation will take some time. When you get a translate, the technology is often advanced. They already have an advantage of knowing the English language, and if it's a technical, much better. But if you know English, that definitely know technical English is much easy, much faster. In addition to this, the equipment with the original manual of the equipment we have is not only in English, but there are also part of it. There are terminologies in Spanish that are derived to English, and you have seen it and you can see it of the course. Besides that, knowing another language in a company, especially in a big company, opens you the possibility to go abroad. There are no companies that are transnational, and their best prospects are taken abroad for training. So knowing English opens many doors for you, many fields, and even then you can suddenly look for work in other countries. Not only here in Peru, but you can look for work in other countries. Opens up a lot of opportunities for you. That opportunities are definitely presented to you. It's not. It's don't know if you answered your question well.
Dear students, I hope that today's interview contributes to the development of your professional career. And thank you, Engineer Harley, for the interview. That's all, and don't forget that your cheese is not.